In Siberia, there's a recently discovered abandoned Russian gulag that operated as a gold and uranium mining outpost during the height of World War II and into the Cold War. Prisoners were marched off into the harsh Siberian wilderness, forced to mine precious metals to help push the war effort. A Russian historian created a map of the Gulag, and I used Google Lens to translate the map into English for us. Keep in mind that the translations aren't going to be perfect. However, we're going to be using this translated map to look at a couple different locations listed down here on the legend. We're going to be looking at new production facilities as well as some cemeteries. Some of these are going to be visible to us on Google Earth, however, some of them do appear to be censored, but we do have a way to view those as well, so we'll be looking at them later on. So what we'll do is we'll take this map and apply it as an overlay. And as I toggle the overlay on and off, keep note of what's listed as a production facility building here and the rivers that flow up and throughout the mountains. Then what I'll do is I'll play with the opacity a little bit just to hopefully give you a better idea of how well this matches up. Places where the map doesn't match 100% is going to be in the lower left-hand portion. You can see the curve in the river here on the map does match the curve in the river just outside the border. And then on the right side of the map, this road and river here does follow alongside this mountain range here. First place we're going to be looking at is going to be up towards Gornyak. If you've been looking at the map, you see all these little X's. The legend has it listed as meaning the mouth of the table. From what I can find online, this is just a Russian idiom for meaning head of the table. So I'm presuming all these little X's are some kind of administration buildings or ones that officers would work or live in. In an area locally known as the Russian Death Valley, the Buttigieg Gulag first opened in 1937. During its almost 2 decades of existence, this gulag would be the ultimate demise of an estimated 380,000 people. As we start to move around the landscape, you'll see some collections of abandoned buildings, as well as some deep cuts in the ground, which are actually some of the mining tunnels that the prisoners were tasked with digging in search of gold and uranium for the war. In an area where it's commonly negative 30 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, it's no wonder that the average lifespan of a miner here was less than 1 year. Next up, we're going to take a look at 2 places that appear to be censored by Google, right here in the center, and the cemetery right up here. First, we'll start off by looking at what's thought to be the uranium ore processing plant. As we start to head on in, you'll realize that for whatever reason, Google Earth has decided to either censor or not update this particular tile. Everything outside of the blurriness is dated from 2024, however the blurriness itself is dated from being 2020. So if you wanted to look at this yourself on Google Earth, you're going to be SOL, however we do have a way to view it. So Bing actually has some pretty good satellite imagery. As we start to come in here, you'll start to see the uranium ore processing plant with the uranium ore runoff pool and the abandoned buildings. Next up, we're going to check out the cemetery or mass grave located at the top of the map. Like the last location, you see that Google has, for whatever reason, either censored or failed to update this specific tile. But we'll go back to Bing Map Satellite, and as we start to head into this location, really the only remains that you see is a small concrete slab. You don't really see any burial mounds or headstones or things like that. If you remember that little bend in the river that I mentioned earlier, that's going to be our last checkpoint for today. Here you can see the remains of 2 large buildings, here and here, and I think if you look close enough you'll be able to see what I believe to be the remains of buildings that are no longer standing. I want to say here and maybe here. Otherwise, these could just be the remains of some roads or possibly just how the ground looks. I'm not 100% sure. This was just something I thought was super interesting. There's not too much information about this gulag. I've only scratched the surface in this video of things that you can find. Definitely implore you guys to go out, look on your own time. If you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I love you.